Have you considered how social media will impact your nonprofit? Today we're going to dive into how you can use social media to market your programs, engage your supporters, and increase your funding. The first way you can do it is by creating a communication plan. Begin to think about how you're going to communicate your message across a variety of different platforms. As it stands today, there's over 4 billion people on social media. 9 out of 10 people who have internet access are using some form of social media. On average, social media users are active on 6 to 7 different platforms. So you have a variety of different opportunities to reach your target audience. But you got to take into consideration, if you're going to promote that program, if you're going to engage your supporters, or if you want to increase your funding, you got to start thinking about what platform are you going to use. Pick you a primary platform if you haven't started yet to get started with. If you've already been involved in using social media, maybe you need to start looking at, okay, which one right now am I getting the most response from, and dive into that one a little bit deeper. But if you're starting out, or if you've been into it, at least have you a Facebook fan page to get started with, and link that with your Instagram page. From there, you can build out your communication plan. You can build it out a week at a time, 30 days at a time, figure out what works for you, but create a plan for yourself that you can communicate that message that you want to get out. That program that you're starting with right now, or that program that you have planned in a couple of months, or maybe you're needing to engage your supporters more, get more volunteers. Maybe right now you're really hurting for funding and you need some funding for that specific program or activity, and you can begin to communicate that and design your communication plan around that. That communication plan needs to be targeted for your specific audience, but also related to that specific platform that you're using. If those two are in line, then that's going to help you grow your reach and help you be more effective in your communication about that project, about engaging those supporters, or about increasing those funds. As you tailor your message for that platform, keep your target audience in mind. Each platform has a specific type of audience that tends to go to it. If you go to IG, it's going to be the 30 and under crowd. If you're looking at TikTok, that's your millennials and your Gen Z, post-millennial generation that are on there. If you look at YouTube, Facebook, those types of things, there's a variety of different generations on those platforms. The people right now that are making the most money on YouTube are the Gen Xers like myself. The people that are using Facebook more are your baby boomers and your Gen Xers as well. But the nice thing about having that Facebook fan page is you link it to your IG, and you can schedule your post and your stories and your reels and your videos out across those two platforms together at the same time. So as you think about marketing that program, or engaging your supporters, or maybe as you're increasing those funds, you've got that 30-day plan in mind. But then start creating some long-form content related to that. You can do that in a variety of different ways. You can go live on your platform of choice. Say you want to go live on Facebook, you want to go live on IG. You got to get a certain number of followers right now to go live on TikTok, but you can also go live on YouTube if that's your thing as well. But choose that kind of platform if you want to do that, and you go live. You can go live with one of your supporters and do an interview. You can go live with maybe you're doing that program, you want people to see and experience that program, and you can do a live video of that program, or you could just document it. That might be your large form content. You document that program, you document that activity. Either way, whether it's live or whether you're just documenting and you're recording it, take that long form content from there and you begin to chop it up, and then you can divide it up over that 30-day period about what you use. That long form content can go somewhere, whether it's live on your Facebook page or your Instagram, or maybe you've created a video and you put it up on YouTube, and then from there you take it and you chop it up and then you spread it across the different platforms. Doesn't mean you're always using video. That content that you chop up You can take it and use pictures and other things to write posts, and maybe writing is more your thing and not video so much, and then you can use that gift of your writing in that form as well to communicate that same message, but you're targeting your specific audience and you're targeting related on that specific platform and what's working for you at this time on that platform. But as you do that, you also got to keep in mind, all right, you got to make sure you're using good keywords. You got to make sure you're using good hashtags, and it's always great to be tagging other people. So think about those people that are already supporting you, those people you're already working with, those people that are your donors or on your board, or maybe they're your fans, or maybe you want them to become your fans or become donors or become supporters. You can tag them in those posts or tag them in the videos, and that way you can draw them to your cause as well at the same time. All right, so you want to increase that reach and you want to generate more funding for your nonprofit. As you're using social media to do that, you need to be asking for funds, okay? And it doesn't mean you have to ask for funds every single time. But as you begin to create that content and you've got that 30-day plan in place and you've created that long form content and you've split it up and you've broken it up and you're going to put it in maybe stories, maybe reels, maybe short form videos, maybe in posts inside of different platforms like Facebook, Instagram, wherever it may, in Twitter, LinkedIn, who knows, wherever you put it at, okay? When you do that, you need to make sure you include a link to your online donation process, whether it's to your web page, whether it's to some app that you use, whatever it might be. You include that link. You should include that link at the top, just like if you're putting a long form YouTube video about a specific program and you want to raise funds for that program. In a description, that link to that donation link should be included in the very top line of that description so they see it right away. They don't have to scroll down and find it. The same thing happens when you put it inside a post, in whether you're in Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. Include the link in there. If you're on IG, you got to put it in your bio, okay? Put that link in the bio, direct people to go there. Same, if you're putting it on the stories, nice thing is, if you've got a Facebook fan page and you've got it in your stories, you're using the Meta Business Suite, and you can include the link to that donation platform that you're using, whether it's your web place, whatever it is, you can include it there in the stories that people can go directly to make that donation, and that way you keep it in front of them. Now, it's not something, like I said, it's not something you include every single time. With that 30-day plan of communication, you've got certain days of the week and you mix it up throughout that 30-day period, that you focus specifically on increasing your funding. And all of your posts, all of your information that you put out there is related to that, and you always include that link and make it where it's visible, where people can see. Sometimes you also need to go back after you put it out there, and in a couple of days later, you need to go like it. You need to go drop the link inside the comment to encourage people to give. And that way it just kind of boosts the algorithm, boosts it up, and it puts it back in front of people so that they can see it, and so that you can generate those funds that you need to have for your program or for your nonprofit as you try to increase your impact. And I want to talk about, as you think about your social media in your nonprofit, and you want to market those programs, you want to engage your supporters, and you want to increase your funding, you need to, we've talked about the various, different platforms that the average social media user is active on 6 to 7 platforms. Well, how many platforms are you currently using yourself? And how much are you being very active on posting on a regular basis? Now, how much is regular? How often? And you hear this all over the place. And there's a variety of different ways to look at it and think about it, okay? And people believe different things and have different points of view. And you can decide maybe you're going to post 2 or 3 forms of content every day on a platform of your choice, or maybe you're going to produce more than that. I've heard different people. Any go from anywhere from 3 to 4 to 12. And I've heard people, most recently I heard Gary Vee tell a group of people, post as much as you can. What are you capable of doing? What can you handle? What can you manage? Maybe you're just starting out, and maybe the most you can handle is 3 or 4 posts a day. Maybe it's just 1 today. I don't know. I've had days like that where that's all I could do. That's all I had time for. Maybe that's you. But whatever it is, try to be consistent with it. Try to spread it out and create the kind of content that speaks to your audience based on that platform as well, and make sure those two line up. If you do that, then you just go back and you begin to monitor and look at the results. And those things that produce great results for you, repurpose them. You don't have to recreate the wheel every time. You just change them up a little bit. Sometimes you wait long enough, you don't have to change a whole lot, because the reality is people really and truly aren't going to remember it unless you do it like 2 weeks apart or something like that. Probably doesn't even matter there. But the reality is most people, if you do it 3 months apart, they're not going to remember it. So take that in mind as you develop that content and as you grow your reach with social media.